Welcome back to the Hood Knees Fantasy Football Podcast. This is episode 27, I'm going to guess. We're doing week 6 preview, first 7 matchups. I got my boys, MFB.
Yeah.
And BBTB.
Do what it does what it does.
And I'm your host, Keem. we're gonna go ahead and interrupt his intro there. We don't need that.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I got you. MFB looking a little orange there, buddy. You want to change that light a little bit?
There it is. Perfect.
Perfect.
Keep on just yapping.
Look like Donald Trump for a second.
He was a certified yapper. It's cool.
Jump into the matchups. Let's get started with Thursday Night Football. 49ers versus Seahawks. Divisional matchup. I mean, anyone that you sit on the 49ers side?
Look, bro. Just need to apologize for my Thursday night takes last week real quick. So this Thursday night, everyone somehow is going to pop off. So if you sit someone, play them, bro. Prime time, everyone's supposed to go nuts, supposedly. But no, I'm playing. But what you call it? I think you flex Jackson Smith and Jigba. So desperation flex Zach Charbonnet. Obviously start K Walker, K9 on the Seattle side.
You don't really sit any of the starters on either side of this. It's I mean, we saw last week divisional game Thursday Night Football, and they went nuts. Hopefully, we can see it again. Niners offense has been not really churning very well. They lost their kicker; he's out for a few weeks, and he was hitting some long range kicks. So I don't know if
Jake Moody, bro. Jake Moody was solid.
Yeah, bro. Out a few weeks. I saw him get injured, bro. That was crazy. But it's an ankle injury, and they're saying he's, I think, out for a few weeks. I don't know the exact timeline for that, but yeah, that kind of I think they lost that game against the Cardinals last week because of that. Well, he couldn't kick, they couldn't take any field goals. They had to just throw the ball. But I don't know if that makes a big difference in like this game without their kicker. I hope it's going to be a shootout. What's your guys' takes?
I think, speaking about the RBs for a second, I got both these RBs on each side, Jordan Mason and Kenneth Walker, probably finishing in the top 10 of the week in this matchup. Yeah. And, bro, just to give some points on Kenneth Walker, right? He was a pretty, really good value draft pick if you got him, right? He's pretty much a solidified bell cow. And right now he's the running back with the 5th highest target share, across the league, which is, a number you really want to see out of your running back.
Yeah. Well, getting that pass work is huge for running backs, especially in fantasy. He had 8 targets last week against the Giants. So that's good. You like that. I think, any news on McCaffrey? They're saying he can come back week 7.
It's not happening, bro. He's just trying to get their hopes up. I think I saw that in some kind of news outlet, but he's not coming back till maybe week 10. I don't see it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, if anyone's listening, I don't know, do we tell viewers to go out and get McCaffrey? Just hold tight, sell him now. Sell him with the news? If you have him, do you sell him with the news that he could come back week 7?
Obviously depends on what you can get for him. But
yeah, I mean, he's a huge question mark right now. So in my opinion, just hold. If you have him, just hold. It's not really, there's just too much drama around him, and there's just too much confusion and all these different news that keeps coming out, and it's just too much. Do you think this is going to be, I mean, between Kittle, Debo, and Ayuk played well last week. He got targeted a lot. It was over 150 yards last week.
I think it was, 147?
He had 147, yeah. So 12 targets. That was really good. Debo didn't have a good week last week. You think he bounces back in this divisional matchup?
I think so. I feel like everyone does their fair share and does pretty decent. I don't have one guy going crazy.
You don't want to make any bad takes.
Look, hey, I had Ayuk last week though. I had Ayuk. Some of y'all had Debo.
He had Ayuk last week. I called Debo last week.
I had Kittle, but
obviously it was a miss. I think my outlook this week, I think they all do pretty well. They're all going to produce numbers. I'm gonna still call Debo to do better than Ayuk this week. And I'm probably gonna say Kittle will finish in the top 3 of the tight ends. Top 3 tight end finish of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, they need it after that loss to the Cardinals. I think they go top of the division with this win.
Oh yeah, so this is a big game.
Yeah,
that's a big game.
They need this win big. Anything else for a Thursday night matchup?
No, but hopefully a shootout.
Yeah, let's prayers up. If you have those players, plug them in your lineup. Let's move on. Jaguars, Bears. I don't know why I couldn't say that. London game, 6:30 in the morning. Last London game was atrocious. I mean, the Jets couldn't really get going. Minnesota, Sam Darnold didn't do so well. Vikings still won, but this game, do you think the Bears continue working? Because they played well they played Carolina last week, but do you think they keep up that production kind of off that high of last game, stay in the flames? Or what do you guys think?
I would say for sure they keep it up. The main reason for that being is the Jacksonville, bro, they have terrible passing defense right now. Right? You remember like the first 3 weeks, like it was like Washington, start your receivers against Washington. Now it's Jacksonville. Start all your receivers against Jacksonville, right? And we saw Caleb sling it last week, and DJ Moore had a crazy game. So we're probably going to see like maybe multiple people eat, but at least one of them between like DJ Moore and Rome Odunze eating this week big, I believe. So I think start all the Bears receivers, and even next week and the week after, start all your receivers against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I see it.
I think, go ahead, BTB.
No, I was about to say, I feel like Caleb Williams finally found his groove. He looks really good. Obviously, they played Carolina last week, but I don't know, man. I'm loving Caleb Williams in this matchup too. So start receivers, start Caleb Williams if you can.
I think Rome Odunze has a bounce back week. They have this game, then they go into the bye. They come back, they play Washington, then Arizona. He played well last week against Carolina. I'm talking about Caleb Williams. Do you see what he does this game if you have him and then sell him? I mean, he's going into a bye, but like, do you sell him off that high of like 2 games if he gets a 2-game streak like that, or what do you do? Or do you just keep him?
You could try selling them. To be honest, in the general scheme of things, I haven't seen too many QBs being traded or sold. It seems like there's so many streaming options, and there's so many like people that have came up and been like, oh, Justin Fields kind of pop in, or like, oh, Daniel Jones 6th streamer this week. So they kind of just go with that and trust them. Unless, I don't know. Anyways, to answer your question, sure, yeah, you could try selling them for sure, because against the tougher matchups, we've seen Caleb kind of get shut down. But like we said in our recap, the Bears offense seems to be rolling. So you might want to stay on it while it's hot.
Yep.
Definitely. What do you do with the Jaguars running backs? Etienne, Tank Bigsby. What do you do with those guys? Do you flex them both? Do you start one over the other?
So if that's you have something both? That needs to be monitored, because if Etienne's shoulder, I think it's a shoulder injury.
Shoulder.
If you could double check, but he might be out for multiple weeks, bro. I will make a bold call here. I think you sell Tank Bigsby high.
Okay.
So I think obviously if Etienne doesn't start, Bigsby's is a starter, right?
Right.
The main reason for that is, and if you've been following the podcast, I like to target backs who get passes, who run routes, who see target share, right? Bigsby doesn't see none of that, bruh. Go look at the game log of Bigsby. I think he caught 1 or 2 passes the whole season.
It's only one target last week. He caught it for 28 yards.
There you go. Like, he doesn't here's the thing, right? If they can somehow work him to be that kind of back, bro, money. You hit the lotto.
Yep.
I'm not going to bank on that, seeing the past sample size that I have, pretty much. So I'm calling it like you could try to sell Tank high.
Well, the thing is with Tank Bigsby, I think if you listen to the last episode, I have Tank's Bigsby takeover. ATN just not being healthy. He's been out for a good amount of the game the past couple weeks, and if he just keeps getting hurt, I feel like the coaches will finally realize that. And I think Bigsby's just going to take over. He looks good, man. He looks really good. Runs hard, runs solid. I don't know if I would sell him though, because you probably got him off a waiver pickup, So
look, I can see what MFB is saying in that if Etienne is starting this week or he's healthy, because he logged a limited practice today on Wednesday. If he practices through the week and plays, Chicago defense is a strong defense, and they're going into a bye. You can't sell Tank Bigsby if they go into a bye week and he ends up with 5 fantasy points. They're gonna be like, no, I'm good. I don't want him. You sell him now while he's just hot off that game. You say, look, you poise it in like, hey, dude, he's taking over the backfield. Etienne's always getting banged up. He's always going to have touches. You might be able to get a better player out of him, a better running back. So I'm not opposed to that sell high idea. I think that if Etienne is not playing, you hold on to Bigsby and play him this week. What do you do with the receivers? Because Brian Thomas has been fantastic, man. I think you start Brian Thomas, but that Chicago defense is solid. So do you sit Kirk this week? Or do you just hope it works and just play flex Kirk?
So I'm in a little bit of a situation. I have Kirk and Tank Dell in one league. And obviously we heard the news of Nico Collins. So I'm going Tank Dell. I'm playing Tank Dell over Christian Kirk. Honestly, I might even stream a receiver over Christian Kirk just because of how good the Bears receivers are. Because Deontay didn't do nothing last week. Leggett didn't do nothing last week. I know it's the Panthers, but I don't know. I'd sit Kirk just to be on the safe side.
Yep. I agree with you. We've been talking about this before. Bears passing D is really good.
Yeah.
They're really, really locked down. So Brian Thomas, like a wide receiver 3 range for me. Kirk, desperation flex, but I wait for my sleeper list to come out tomorrow on the Discord. Feel me? And hopefully choose one and you hit on it.
Solid.
Yeah.
I think you got like a 99% hit rate or something.
Yeah, I think you had Deshaun Watson on your list. I think you had Deshaun Watson on the list last week. That was your only miss ever this whole season.
Allegedly 99%, but yeah, we'll stick with that.
Let's move on. Bucks Saints.
Oh yeah,
this is gonna be. I would temper expectations. Carr's out for a few weeks. No.
Listen, bro. If you guys tuned in before the season started on the podcast,
I had all 3 viewers or all 3.
Yes, listeners. All 3 of the viewers that are currently listening. I had Spencer Rattler starting week 8 for Derek Carr. Obviously not because of injury, because I thought Derek Carr was going to play bad, but it's pretty close to my prediction. I think Spencer Rattler is going to get. I think he's legit. I think that he'll put up a performance. It's his first game, so I'm not. If he does horrible, not going to knock him down yet. But I think he does solid this game. To the Olave owners, I think you guys just hold him, do your thing. Shaheed owners, I'd sit him just this game just in case if he doesn't really understand how to hit that long ball for Shaheed. But I'm liking Spencer Rattler a lot.
I've seen a lot of people trade Olave already this week, actually, as a matter of fact. And on top of that, whoever's listening, this is coming from a big Saints fan. So I don't know if we take exactly what you say. Take it with a little grain of salt, maybe.
I can go on Spencer Rattler, but that's pretty much it.
It's a decent outlook. Yeah, I mean, like they got, this QB who has Rattler. No, he's a rookie, right? Is he a rookie?
He's a rookie.
Drafted,
He's a rookie. So this is debut start.
If you start.
Division. No, I think they named him like.
He's named officially the starter.
Named the starter. Okay, cool. That's what I believe. Nice. Yeah. Divisional match, right? So, it's kind of a big deal, low key.
Yep.
Another big deal I want to talk about. We got Mike Evans. Marshawn Lattimore, bro. Like the beef's been going on for like a cool 10 years. I don't even know how long since like. I gotta look up the year, bro, because
it's just forever.
It's been a cool.
It was when
number of years, bro.
When Winston was popping off, and then Lattimore and Evans just couldn't keep their hands off each other, bro.
They start swinging.
That was, and then every year since then, it's just been someone getting ejected. Like I'll put if there's a like a money line or some shit, one of those homies getting ejected. Smack the over on that, bro.
But who? Because you can't bet both or one. You have to bet one of them gets.
Hey, bro. Make it Mike Evans, bro. Screw that homie, bro. Lattimore.
So do you play Mike Evans,
bro? I mean,
you can't not, right? So do you temper expectations at least?
So listen. Since 2017, they've been playing against each other, right?
Okay.
So that leaves
that's like 8 years.
7 years, 8 years. Yeah.
Technically, this year.
Yeah, 14 games, right? 7 years,
Cool.
14 games.
7,
All right. Out of those 14 games, there's one solid game, 24.2 half PPR points, right?
From Mike Evans.
Out of that, right? Besides that one, there's only 2 other games he hits double digits, going for 10.6 and 11.8. The rest of the games are single-digit games. All right. And the highest number of receptions is obviously the 20 plus point game with 7 catches.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing has eclipsed more than 5 for him against Lattimore. All right.
Crazy.
2017, he was suspended for shoving Lattimore. 22 years ago, 2022, they both got ejected for fighting.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
This is a beef, bro. So, I mean, look, listen, you're obviously going to start Mike Evans, but yeah, he might not get double digits, bro. This data, right?
Temper expectations.
This is a good sample size of data right here.
Yeah, this is. I mean, yeah. If I have Mike Evans, I'm a little bit worried. But I mean, you can't, like we said, you can't sit Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, you play him obviously. Rachaad White and Bucky Irving. What are they flex worthy? Rachaad White's got a foot issue. Apparently, this is on Wednesday, guys. Wednesday practices are always just kind of up in the air. Pay attention to Rachaad White's status as the week goes on. But what do you do if they both play?
So, I mean, honestly, I'm leaning towards Bucky Irving because last game that they were feeding Bucky, even though Bucky had that fumble, I think towards the end of the game, put him back in the game, built more confidence, you know. And so, I don't know. I feel like they're going with Bucky. I know Rachaad White doesn't look as reliable, so I'd choose Bucky slightly over Rachaad White.
Is that why you traded me for him, or?
Whoa, yo.
I'm kind of with that. The coach still seems confident with Bucky even after the fumble.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you a lot, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, you saw him; he was hard on himself on the sideline. I don't know if you guys saw that in the game.
Oh yeah, easily.
Course,
but his teammates were all. But his teammates were all like, "Hey, bro, it's good." Like you see them, like I don't know. I saw that on the sideline. I like to see that. I mean, you got to be hard on yourself. You can't just be like, "Oh, whatever." Like you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously, like to see that he's got passion. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think that's it for that matchup. Obviously, start Kamara. You're not going to sit him.
I was just going to say, if you need a tight end, I think K-Dot could be a solid tight end. Just like, obviously, I'm not saying he dropped in double digits, but tight end's been obviously weak this year.
Hey, definitely. He was in our tight end waiver pickup, if you listen. So
yeah. He had 4 targets last week. So 44 yards. I mean, come on. If you need a tight end, it's not bad.
I mean, if Evans gets ejected, you know what I'm saying?
Or locked up, and they start throwing it on him. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders, Ravens. This might be game of the week right here. I don't know what the over. Can you, I mean.
Like Thursday night might be game of the week, but this one should be cool.
I mean, bro, you got Jaden Daniels on the scene going crazy. And then you also have Lamar Jackson on the other side who's been going bananas.
Mm-hmm.
And they've both been just going to work. You got the rookie and you got the kind of like the vet.
Mm-hmm.
I think can you find the over under on that game?
On the total, like the point total?
Yeah. I think it's
51.5.
Yeah, bro, that's good.
High.
You want players.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty high. And the Ravens are favored by 6.5 in case you wanted that one.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a real test for Jaden Daniels. That Baltimore defense is no joke, honestly.
It's definitely a test. And, there's another interesting stat I looked up about Washington, right? Is they have a very, very low path to rush TD ratio. Meaning like all of their TDs have not like been passing, right? Like I think inside the 10-yard line, they pass the least out of every team, right? So now what does that mean fantasy wise for all the listeners? Basically, any Washington receiver you have, they haven't been amazing, but like you should, in theory, and see positive regression for Washington because they can't like sustain that, right? There's gonna have to be a more even ratio of passing to rushing TD for Washington. I'm not saying it's gonna come this week, but it's just something to look out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna go on my hot take number 33 of the season. Right, I think the Commanders, that offense, they're just a bunch of frauds. And I'll explain on how they get exposed. They played the Giants, not so best of a defense. They played the Bengals, not so best of the defense. Cardinals and Browns. Those defense are not good. So I think Ravens is a test. I know Bengals went crazy on them last week, but I think Ravens have the personnel to lock up the guys that they have, and so I think that the Commanders. I have the Ravens defense obliterating the Commanders. Like I don't see them doing anything crazy. Like if somehow there's 2 touchdowns on the board, I don't see it happening. Commanders frauds.
Didn't they played Cleveland last week, which is not a bad defense. Cleveland defenses.
But Cleveland's like 1-4. Cleveland's trash.
I'm saying that the defense is not bad, so I thought that would be a test. But they pulled through.
It's not a terrible take. Like on paper, I see the Ravens kind of like winning the game. The spread's 6.5. Like that's kind of a beating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a trap game. You never know with Vegas, bro. Like,
hey, yeah.
And how wrong?
Do you guys see it being more of a shootout or the Ravens shutting down the Commanders? Because that's important. Because when we talk about the tight ends on the Ravens side of the ball, if it's a shootout, you can flex or you can kind of slot in one of those tight ends. Probably likely to be the top, and then you have Mark Andrews. If you still have Mark Andrews somehow for some reason, maybe you can play him. Do you guys see it being more of a shootout or more of the Ravens shutting down the Commanders?
I mean, honestly, with the spread this high, like it kind of has to be a shootout, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the thing I'm saying that I mentioned at first.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen Jaden Daniels in like a shootout, right?
Right. Where
like
forced to throw
he might still stick to his rushing and like the mix of Eckler and Brian Robinson rushing the ball.
But if they're scoring a lot and the Ravens have to also score a lot, they have to throw the ball, then those tight ends come into play or could potentially come into play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like this could be just a heavy run game, dude.
So
yeah, it could, because when the Ravens played the Bills, right? Josh Allen's also like a pretty mobile quarterback. And they kind of just they kind of had a game plan and they kind of stopped everything, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So do you? We'll so in that case, what's your guys' take? Do you consider Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely those tight ends for the Ravens, or do you just not? You just try to find an alternative.
Remember, like we always been saying, tight end landscape is pretty slim. So desperation tight end. Got to play one of them, I guess, if you don't have one.
If you really need it, go for it. But I'm not confidently starting either.
Yeah, same.
All right. Receivers on the Ravens side. Zay Flowers, you start him.
Yeah,
flexible.
He's flexible. Okay. Do you think any of the other receivers, Bateman, anyone? Or you
nah.
That's just you just got to get lucky. Nah.
Derrick Henry obviously is a start. On the Commanders side, it's basically just Terry McLaurin and then nobody else. Zach Ertz, if you have him, he had a fumble last week, but I think he had 8 targets. So he's a start for me if you have him as a tight end.
Yeah. Washington, with their pattern, they kind of spread the ball a lot. With Terry getting majority of the targets, but
I think
other than that, it's like a spread. They don't have like a pure number 2.
Yeah. It probably is Zach Ertz, to be honest.
Honestly, I have Terry McLaurin. I think we sit that homie. Sit him. Don't even play him.
Really?
Sit him.
I mean, I got him as low wide receiver too.
I think you could flex McLaurin.
He ain't doing nothing. He's getting locked up, clamped.
He is okay. All right.
Marlon Humphrey.
If you have an alternative to McLaurin, maybe look for an alternative. I think you can flex McLaurin.
They're gonna have Marlon Humphrey right there, and then they're gonna have Cal Hamilton get in the deep ball. He ain't doing nothing.
Yeah. What do you do with Eckler?
Probably a fit, because I have Brian Robb as like a low RB2. Okay. So Eckler can't be that high.
Yeah, I mean they do change of pace. They slot each other in, and they got
unless you're praying for like a lucky goal line TD, then yeah.
I'd probably say sit, because they're also using the other guy, right? Jeremy McNichols.
They're using all 3 of those guys, man.
I think Did they use him last week? I feel like
Yeah,
he
got a touchdown the week before. He got a touchdown.
Yeah, this week he had 7 attempts, 44 yards, and a tutty. McNichols.
Solid.
But that Baltimore defense, the run defense, is pretty good. So I would not look towards that guy for sure, McNichols. But Eckler would be a very, very big desperation play. I would probably not recommend him. But yeah, Brian Robinson, you play him if you have him. Let's move on. Cardinals, Packers. On the Cardinals side, Marvin Harrison did not have a good game last week. Michael Wilson was the lead receiver on that team. Do you think he bounces back this week?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, not like he might do slightly better than he did last week. I think he only had 2 catches last week.
I believe it was 2 catches. It was 7 targets.
Sure. Yeah, he might slightly do better, obviously, but I don't have him 15 plus fantasy point kind of player that he's been projected pretty much all games. So
yeah, I agree. Probably not 15 plus. I got him in the wide receiver 2 range on the week.
Okay. Do you think most of the points come on the ground, or do you think it's just going to be like Green Bay shuts them down, or what? Or it just goes all to Michael Wilson and McBride?
No, I feel like it's going to be a spread of points. So I feel like Marvin Harrison will get a little bit, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, James Conner, obviously Kyler Murray with his legs.
Yeah.
So
I think for the Cardinals to win and keep this game competitive, they kind of have to really establish the ground game. Because there's been some Arizona games they just don't run the ball at all. I've noticed, kind of.
Yeah.
They barely give the running back carries. They need to get Connor 15 attempts at least.
Yeah.
Really establish a good ground game that opens it up for Marvin Harrison.
I mean, they had 19 attempts last week for Connor, and then he had 3 targets, and then 19 rush attempts.
I think it was the week before that.
It was 3 weeks. I mean, Detroit. He had 9 attempts, but against Washington, he had 18 attempts and a tutty.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, as long as they mix in Connor enough, I think he could have a very decent finish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's it for the Cardinals. Obviously, you start. I mean, if you have Marvin Harrison, you start him. You start James Conner, McBride. He's one of the top tight ends. On the other side, Green Bay. I mean, I was going to say Dontavian Wicks, man. He let me down this last week.
He was
nothing.
Obviously, a very hot waiver ad.
No Romeo Doubs, and he just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it was low-key the Tucker Craft show last week.
Yeah.
I think Wiggs is a strong hold for me. I wouldn't be worried.
Yeah.
He still runs plenty routes. I think he's having problem with drop. So he's seeing the ball, but he has some drop issues.
Yeah. 7 targets, 2 receptions.
You hate to see that. That's there's probably nothing more frustrating than that.
Yep.
So if he fixes that, he should be money, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine he didn't drop all those balls. I think he dropped a tud too, if I'm not mistaken. But his potential's still there for sure.
Yeah, but they also, I think Romeo Doubs, his suspension was lifted. I think I read a report
that. Yeah, he should be good to play. Which I don't even know what happened. It was some locker room something
something. Yeah, he was upset
about the ball or something.
He was upset about his usage in the offense or something like that. I don't know. I didn't know.
Listen, bro, it's cool when you do that and your name is Stephon Diggs, right?
Yeah.
Or AJ Brown. But if it's not, then
it's bro, chill out, bro.
Pipe down, bro. Relax, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's but it is what it is.
But I feel like if Romeo Doubs does play, which obviously I think he is, I feel like he might just eat into a lot of people's
So he did complain. I don't know what this week will have to be kind of you just kind of see what happens. Jaden Reed, you start him.
Mm-hmm.
Dobbs, I think you wait and see what happens. If you have to play him, go for it. I mean, Dontavian Wicks is probably flex worthy. Tucker Craft, if you got him off the waivers, play him. I mean, he's been doing very well for tight ends. He finished tight end 2 and then tight end 1 his last 2 weeks. So excellent for tight ends. I don't think anyone's finished top 2 weeks in a row this season.
Yeah, he's low-key I don't know. I'm expecting obviously heavy regression this week, but
Yeah.
You know,
You can't
it is what it is.
Yeah, can't sustain touchdown a week.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, you play him obviously, and then that's pretty much it. For that matchup. Let's go to Colts versus Titans. Hopefully Joe Flacco keeps playing because no one else. I mean,
it doesn't look like it. It looks like they want to start Anthony Richardson again, bro.
I'm sure.
That's crazy to me, man. That's crazy.
I mean, look, you draft this guy last year. He does well. He's doing a lot of rushing. He's getting in the end zone a lot. The team looks good. He's not very accurate, but they're winning games. And then he gets injured, comes back this season. They don't want to have felt like they wasted a pick on him. That, in my opinion, they're just kind of like, we have to use.
Yeah, you want to try to get like some return on the investment.
Give him a chance.
Yeah, but personally, that doesn't make sense to me because look at the Panthers, bro. They benched Bryce Young after using their number 1 pick on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
it's different mentalities, right? Like,
what about Anthony Richardson?
Panthers coach is like, hey, I'm trying to win,
bro.
You know what I mean?
I guess.
Like they're trying to win now.
Bryce Young played all of last season, no? Anthony Richardson played 5 games last season and then like injured. So
that's true.
He didn't really get a full season's worth of showing what he can do. So dude, I mean, you saw it with what's his name? Justin Fields in Chicago. They gave him time to like keep trying, and then they said, "All right, bro, get out of here." Like they just gave up on him. So they're gonna give him chances.
It's definitely frustrating. Everybody in fantasy wants to see Joe Flacco.
Right.
That it don't even got to be said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In this matchup, the Colts, you have, I think Michael Pittman's doubtful this week. He's supposed to miss a few weeks.
Michael Pittman's gonna be out, bro. He's like,
yeah.
IR. They said IR is an option for him.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So that means he missed in like 2 to 3 minimum. Right, and then IR obviously 4. Right, yeah, he got a back injury.
Yeah, that's.
Now let me ask you, did that matter if Anthony Richardson even plays?
Yeah, I don't think.
Naturally, you're looking at Josh Downs, who was on the sleeper list last week. Other factors like Alec Pierce, Adonai Mitchell, right? So we're kind of looking at these names now, like, hey, these are kind of the guys we're looking at.
Which of these guys are really worth starting if it's Anthony Richardson throwing the ball?
Like, probably Alec Pierce, bro.
Alec Pierce
as a dart throw, right? Like as a like.
Yeah.
Like you just
hey, hopefully he catches 2 of them, and hopefully one of them's like a 70-yard TD.
Yeah, seriously.
Basically, I think you can flex Josh Downs. I really think the talent will. I mean, I know Anthony Richardson's not, accurate with the ball, but I think Josh Downs is a great talent, so I think you can flex him, and he might end up not doing much just because the accuracy of the throws and things like that. But I think he's flexible.
I'll say flex worthy with Anthony Richardson, and I'll say mid wide receiver 2 with Flacco.
Yep.
What you call it? I think this game might be a shootout because these defenses are not that good.
That's true.
They are not good, so I feel like the ball can be going back and forth offensively.
Yeah.
So if you want to take a shot at that, I think you should. Josh Downs at the flex, Alex Pierce obviously at the flex too, and then obviously those Titans receivers. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I think Titans receivers also probably eat this game. I think Ridley should be a bounce back. Titans passing schedule gets a lot easier from here on out.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking to buy some Titans receivers, might be the time.
Yep. Jonathan Taylor didn't practice today on Wednesday, and neither did Trey Sermon. So third string is Tyler Goodson.
Yeah.
Do you start him against Tennessee if he plays? If he's a starter?
If the other 2 are injured, yeah, of course, bro. Volume. I mean, I don't know how good he is. I have no idea who this guy is. If you really need an RB, bro, because there's bye weeks, right? So, like, people are in need of RBs for sure.
Yeah.
He's like a decent, decent option.
I mean, and at the same time, if you need someone to punch it in, he's the only guy.
Yeah.
He's going to punch it in.
With this matchup, maybe not with the matchup, but with the Colts, bro, there's hella injury to monitor. You got to monitor Josh Downs. You got to monitor Anthony Richardson. You got to monitor JT. Trey Sermon.
Mm-hmm.
They got 4 key injuries, so for sure. I mean, it's only Wednesday. Wednesday doesn't really tell you anything.
Yeah.
Well, they have
Thursday and Friday will tell you a lot more. So just be prepared.
Yeah.
And look out in the Discord. We'll shout some of that stuff out. On the Titans side, we have, I mean, I think, let's see. What do you start D-Hop and or Ridley, or do you flex them, or what? Where do you guys place those guys?
So I got
Ridley as like a flex.
Okay.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
I have Ridley potentially finishing wide receiver, like high wide receiver 2. I think this is the game he bounces back, does his thing, 100 plus yards, maybe a tutty, does his thing with like 7-8 catches. I'm high on Ridley this week.
Okay. Yeah, you might be high, all right. Yeah, Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. Tony Pollard, he's start automatically.
He's the guy.
I got Pollard finishing like pretty good here, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got Pollard finishing pretty high. Maybe even Tajay in the flex if you want to.
I was gonna say, do you flex him? Do you sit him?
I don't know, man.
Not a great flex. He doesn't see as many carries as Pollard. So
yeah, he had 15 against Miami before the bye week, but he only had 39 yards. He did have a tutty.
Bro, that's Miami, bro. Miami looks in shambles.
Yeah, that whole team is just falling apart.
Yeah.
D-Hop, do you start him? Flex him?
I think he's a decent flex.
I'm not starting.
I don't want to start.
You wouldn't flex him?
I want to look for someone else. To be honest, I'm not saying you cannot start him. I'm saying I do not want to start him. I have him in a league just as like as a bench player. I'm just gonna wait for him to have another good game and then try to sell him. He had 4 targets last week. I mean, that was Miami, but against Green Bay he did good. But I mean, the first 2 weeks, I mean, they played Chicago, they played the Jets. They had a lot of tough matchups, and they played Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying. They had tough matchups.
Yeah.
The road is easier now for all Titans passing. D-Hop could come up. He might be a very cheap buy right now. Honest.
I would agree with that.
A very cheap buy, which could pay out decently. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well, the thing is, the reason why I say I flex him just because I think this is going to be a shootout. Like, I think it's just going to go offensive game back and forth.
Okay.
So I don't know. I have D-Hop flexible. I wouldn't say wide receiver 2 status, but flexible.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for that matchup. Let's get into Texans versus Patriots. On the Texans side, man, Joe Mixon's just been injured for now 3 weeks. First, he was week to week. Now he's day to day. Last week he practiced, I think, or I don't even know if he practiced last week, but I mean,
he practiced limited at the end of last week, and then today did not practice.
Damn.
Okay.
Cam Akers
and Ogabungawunga.
Yeah, that homie.
Ogumbawale.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, you got to.
I'm not sure if you trust either of them, but
yeah,
it's a very tough decision
against Pat's D. Pat's D, bro. You sure? Like, I wouldn't say trust, but like if you need a RB and those are the only 2, let's say on the waivers, I'd plug him in as a RB2 because I know there's a lot of RBs on buy.
Well, what was their usage last week? Like, how did they split?
I mean, so
let me check.
Last week we had I don't know how to say his name. Ogumbawale, bro. So I'm gonna go with that. He had 15 attempts, 30 yards, and then 7 targets, 6 receptions. Cam Akers had 9 attempts for 42 yards and a tud, and then 3 targets. So I think
solid. Got way more work. Looks like.
Yeah, he did. So he got more of a share. So look, if Mixon's out, you might be able to just flex. If you have one of those guys, you can flex them just because if you need it.
You're hoping Mixon gets healthy. It's a high ankle sprain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what? I don't want to get into it too much. I mean, I'm not no doctor or nurse, but what I've noticed with high ankle sprains, especially at running back, it takes them like you would think like 2 weeks, but it's really like 3 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I remember Saquon last year, the same thing happened. And it screwed me in a 14-man league. But That's the thing, right? And Joe Mixon is he's not super old. He's 28, but it's on the olderish side. So
he reps
what happens with the older backs, right? So
yeah. He was a 3-down back in Cincinnati for years. So
yeah, exactly.
he got
that too,
used
right?
a lot of usage in Cincinnati.
He got that high mileage
for running backs.
Hopefully he'll come back. He was doing well.
Yeah. Nico Collins out for a few weeks. He's on IR.
4 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, he is on IR.
One thing that I want to say about this, right? So actually, BBCB wants to talk about Tank Dell. I could see it in his eyes. Go ahead, talk about Tank Dell, brother.
So I earlier in this episode, I said I have Tank Dell starting over Kirk. Kirk's an obvious sit for me. I think Tank Dell bounces back. He had that phenomenal season, that phenomenal game last year, and so I feel like he does the same thing with this time. He has no Nico Collins, so I feel like he'll get more target share, more passes. I even have him scoring a tutty this week. I think Tank Dell is wide receiver 2 worthy.
Yeah, I think New England's not very good at stopping the long range, like the deeper targets. I think, who was it? They had someone scored on it. It was a few weeks back. I have to go back and look, but it was I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie. But in this situation, yeah, without Nico Collins, targets got to go somewhere. Do you consider playing Schultz at tight end with no Nico Collins?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd really consider Schultz. What I do want to say is, what nobody's going to really talk about is Diggs, right? Diggs probably gets a little bit more work, right?
Right.
I think so.
So that's a come up if you're a Diggs owner. He was already seeing a good amount of target share. But one sleeper I want to put out there, just so people can keep the names in their mind, Xavier Hutchinson, right? So I saw an interesting stat, right? After Nico got down, he played more snaps than Tank Dell after Nico left the game. And according to his wide receiver profile, he's the closest to Nico Collins. So
is he
not saying start him?
Yeah,
just put him on the radar.
I would, if you have sticks on your bench, maybe stash him, because if he does good this week, they have Green Bay and then Colts the next 2 weeks. And since Nico's out for at least 4 weeks, you could end up flexing him or trading him, or if someone needs a wide receiver, could be useful. Look out for the sleeper list from MFB this week.
Yes, sir.
Discord, he might be in there. Let's move over to the other side, the Patriots. I think they're starting Drake May this week. He's been named the starter, no?
They are. They are.
So start Houston's defense.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting a double rookie NFL debut, huh? Drake May, Spencer Rattler, huh?
Rattler, yeah.
The week, yeah. Okay, sure.
Crazy.
Bro. I'm gonna say the only startable player on path is Ramondre, possibly low RB2.
Like flex
mix some practice with a foot injury, but we'll see if that actually holds up or if it's just a Wednesday, whatever. They just bring they just throw that in there.
Yeah,
give him some rest. I don't trust anyone else on that offense, especially with a rookie quarterback coming in. So take a shot on Ramondre if he's healthy. If he sits this week, Antonio Gibson, flex worthy or low RB2.
Same range.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, I would try to look away from that offense. Just it might not look very good at all. That's it for that matchup. Anything else?
Nah.
BBC, anything else you want to say? You always have something to say.
Nah. Right. Chilling.
Cool. That'll do it for this matchup, or this episode, the first 7 matchups. We'll get into the other matchups in the next episode. Listening and take what you can from our advice, guys, but we're going to make mistakes on some of these calls. We're just giving you the best advice that we can. So tune into jump into the Discord and try to get some more info. Ask us personally. We talk about stuff on the podcast, but if you jump in the Discord, you can ask us directly, hey, this guy or that guy. And it may not hit every time, but we'll give you the best knowledge that we can give you. So jump in the Discord. ask us questions, and we'll try to help you guys out.
Yep.
We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.